fashion industry has changed a lot. What companies look for in new talent, what the market expects from creatives, how opportunities are created, and who gets them. The fashion industry today is way more competitive than ever before, and it's only going to get tougher in the future. Back in 2018, when I entered the fashion industry through, IFM in Paris, the fashion industry was way simpler, but not anymore because everything has changed. So in this video, I'll share 5 essential elements I wish someone had told me if I were starting my fashion career in 2025. If you master these 5 elements, you'll get a massive advantage over everyone else, especially the last one. Let's get into it. So the very first element is understanding the fashion ecosystem as a whole. No matter what you want to pursue in the fashion industry, if you want to be a marketer, a merchandiser, a designer, you absolutely need to understand and study the fashion industry as a whole. Fashion is not only about the design aspect. It's an entire ecosystem. You have production teams, marketing, PR, image, design, and a lot more. All of these departments work together to bring, a product from an idea to a customer's hands. So if you want to stand out in the fashion industry, you need to understand it all, understand how it works, but learn how fashion companies and the fashion, world works overall, and not just, the creative side. Because at the end of the day, a fashion company is a business. It's not an art project. And businesses function through the, collaborations of departments and roles, each playing a part in the success of the company. The designers design the product, but the products mean, and design mean nothing if the production team can't, source the materials to make it, or if the marketing team fails to build, a compelling brand story around a certain product. Even the most creative designs can fail if, the sales strategy isn't aligned, or the campaigns don't, generate buzz. So if you are a designer or an aspiring designer, it's critical to understand how your designs will affect, the production costs, for example, or how certain design align with, the current market. So understanding this is essential. You need to understand how your specialization, whether, for example, design, fits into the larger system of the fashion industry, and how each area, departments, and roles, fit within each other. The creatives who understand the full business ecosystem have a, massive advantage. So to do this, you can start with studying how successful fashion companies work, following not just designers, but, marketers, merchandisers, or PR specialists, and reading, different case studies about, some fashion brands. Fashion is an ecosystem. The faster you understand how the system works and where you fit into it, the more valuable you become. And by the way, if you want to dive deeper into topics like these with tips, lessons, and insights on fashion and business, you can subscribe to my email list in the first link in the description. So the second element is learning about AI. AI is changing the world and changing the fashion industry. And no, AI is not here to replace you as a creative. It's here to amplify you, to multiply your ideas, and make your work faster and sharper. The people who learn to use AI as a collaborator, not a competitor, will be the ones who stand out in the fashion industry in 2025 and beyond, forever. And those who resist it will fall behind. Even the big fashion houses use AI on a daily basis now to develop fabrics, to manage their inventory, to designs, even into marketing as well. When I started in 2018, AI wasn't even a thing, but today it's becoming the main engine of the fashion industry. So if you don't learn about it and adapt to it, you'll be left behind while the industry moves forward without you. So start studying how brands use AI nowadays on a daily basis. And not just in fashion, you can study other industries as well. And once you understand how AI is changing the industry, start applying AI to your own work. Use AI to generate designs, to test color palettes, to build mood boards. And this is not about AI doing the job for you. It's about AI becoming your partner. The most successful future creatives who understand and know how to use AI as their strategic partner while still keeping their human storytelling voice will dominate the industry. The world moves super fast and you need to move with it. So the sooner you adapt, the bigger your advantage will be. Learn how AI works, learn how others are using it, then figure out how you can use AI for your own work, and that's how you'll stay ahead. So the third element is building your own platform. In 2025, your online presence is your new resume, your new CV. And in the near future, no one will ask you about your resume anymore. They'll ask you for your social media handles. They'll check your Instagram, your YouTube, your TikTok. And if they don't find anything, they'll move to someone who would have built their online presence. Now I'm talking about companies who want to hire you, people who want to collaborate with you, or customers who want to buy from you. Your content is your new currency. Your online presence becomes your portfolio, your pitch, and your proof of work, all in one. So if you haven't started to build your online presence, yet, now is the time. And even if you don't like social media, or, are an introvert who don't like to show himself. For example, I'm the least social media person on the planet. In fact, I hate social media, but I force myself to post regularly because I have specific goals, mid to long-term goals, that I know social media would help me achieve those goals. For example, my very first video was made for 3 friends who asked me about how to get into fashion school. So I decided to record myself, a short video, I think it was 6 to 7 minutes, and put it on YouTube so all 3 of my friends could watch the video. And today the video has 12,000 views, 12K views, and has helped a lot of people beyond my 3 friends. And I've received countless messages of people asking for my help after watching this video. This shows that by putting yourself and your ideas out there, people will come to you, reach out to you, reach out for help and reach out to collaborate. And forget about posting, perfect content. Focus on documenting your entire process, your entire design process if you're in design. From your ideas, your thought process, to you building your projects, to the final product. Because at the end of the day, you are your biggest differentiator. Your unique story, creativity, and perspective is what really sets you apart from everyone else. Your work alone isn't enough. Your story is what makes people truly care. So share your design process. Share why you made certain creative choices in your projects. Share your inspirations, your struggles, your behind the scenes moment. Remember, consistency builds visibility and visibility builds leverage. So now the 4th element is learning how to sell yourself. Whether you're applying for a job, trying to get into fashion school, trying to get your first client, or launching your own company, you are always selling yourself. Your creativity is what you bring to the table, but your ability to communicate its value, that's your real superpower. Your ideas, your perspective, your creativity, that's what you offer. But if you cannot explain why it matters, no one will notice it, acknowledge it. That's why learning how to position, package, and pitch yourself strategically is a must. Because if you don't know how to pitch your ideas or pitch yourself, you'll stay invisible. The world is busy and people won't stop and try to figure out what you do unless you give them a reason to. So you are the product. Start treating yourself like you're a product, because you are. So that means learning how to package and position yourself in a way that makes people clearly and instantly understand who you are, what you do, who it's for, and what you want. Because your ability to sell yourself and your ideas will open doors you never could have imagined. So master this skill now as a priority. And if you master it, you'll be able to create opportunities out of nothing forever. All right, the final element, networking with intention. I've saved this for last on purpose, because before you can network effectively, you need something to show. That's why you need to build your platform first, which is the 3rd element. When people will ask you who you are, what you do, you'll have your work, your ideas, and your story ready, on your platform. And that will be your edge. Because in the fashion industry, 50 to 80% of jobs come through, connections, not through cold emails or, job boards. So networking isn't optional, it's a necessity, it's a must. When you really need to build real relationships, both horizontally and vertically. Horizontally, it's with your peers, so stylists, designers, photographers, people who are creative like you. And vertically, it's for people who are, not creative. So, people who work in agencies, marketers, merchandisers, whatever. Both are super important, because your peers will become collaborators, and experienced professionals in other fields will become, will open doors. And you really need to be active both online and offline. Attend events, workshops, panel talks, join communities, and always make sure to follow up with someone after you've met that person. Networking is about small, consistent actions. But online, for example, don't just follow people silently. Comment meaningfully under their posts, for example. Share your thoughts, perspectives, your creative ideas. Build relationship through, genuine engagement. Because every time someone remembers your name, your work, or a comment you made, they're more likely to recommend you when an opportunity comes up. This consistent, intentional connection building is way more powerful than applying through a job board. But I really want to point this out. Before networking, focus on building your own platform. Create your work, develop your ideas, share your story. Because when you meet people, you'll have something incredible to show them. Don't limit yourself to just network with creative people. Network with everyone. Anyone who might be connected to the industry. And often your first connection, won't be the perfect person, but that's all right, because they might introduce to someone who is. So if I had to start my fashion career in 2025, I wouldn't rely on luck, degrees, or waiting for someone to discover me. I would build my own foundation with these 5 elements, because today you really need to build your own opportunities and own momentum. And the people who get ahead aren't the most talented. They are the ones who understand how to make their talent visible, valuable, and connected. And no one is going to give you permission to start or to do anything. You need to start with where you are, what you have, and build your own platform, your own foundation with all these things. And if you commit to master these 5 elements, you'll thrive in the fashion industry. Because while others will wait for opportunities, you'll create them. And make sure to subscribe to the newsletter. There I share things I don't share anywhere else, and I swear you won't regret it.